Hello, I'm Georgina. I'm an experience transformation consultant within Accenture Song. I also lead our partnership with DigiLearning, a social mobility charity. And I'm here with the wonderful Rachna.
Hi, everyone. Really excited to be here. Thank you for having me, Georgina. I am a managing director at Accenture Technology. Um, my experience sits in digital transformation and front office transformation. And my passion and experience is in helping digital businesses scale. Currently, I'm leading our Salesforce business for Accenture in the UK, Ireland, and Africa.
First of all, thank you for joining us. So today we will be discussing the topic of how we can evolve with technology without leaving anybody behind. So to kick off, it would be great to set the scene just for you to share some of your experience, obviously sitting within a global technology consultancy company. If you wouldn't mind just sharing a story.
Yeah. I'll start off with what I'm seeing a bit more around the world and then what I see in my day-to-day. I think one of the most exciting things I've seen recently is if you think about ChatGPT, which we all know and many of us
Yeah,
use, it's actually built on an LLM, so a large language model. And what that means is it's text-based, and that's what then helps it to generate um, text back to us. 2 weeks ago, I read that Evo 2 has been created, which is essentially a biological artificial intelligence model. It was built with NVIDIA and the Stanford University. And essentially what it does is just like you would feed a lot of text and information into ChatGPT, what this does is feed in, I think it said about 9.3 trillion pieces of information. So all of the DNA sequences of plants, animals that haven't existed for a while, like mammoths, human beings, animals, and it's put all of this into this model. And the idea is that the generative element of it, through that, they will be able to detect which DNA sequences might make somebody more susceptible to, say, cardiovascular diseases. Also, which how to impact vaccines so that they over time, viruses, bacteria are less resistant to the vaccine. And they're also looking at, could there be some kind of microbe that we create that could, for example, decompose plastics in
very
a
cool.
good way. So yeah, so I think this is super exciting because the possibilities are endless. First you had text, now you have, DNA and genomes. What's next? Um,
Exactly.
yeah, and I think on a day-to-day basis, a lot of things that my team and I are discussing with our clients who are, large enterprise organizations is agentic AI and actually how it will help to change the nature of work in an organization and also the future of the workforce. So it's actually no longer just about the technology, but it's really about the reinvention of how we do things. Very exciting.
Super exciting. And I guess the main thing is like where to next and how we keep up with that as humans. And we
Hmm.
evolve as quickly as this technology is growing, um, ultimately with our data, which is absolutely fascinating. So just drawing on the AI piece, especially, I use AI day to day, just at a much smaller scale, whether it's rewriting things, very similar to ChatGPT. Platforms like that I do tap into on a regular basis, and they do make my life so much easier, especially if I've had a very chaotic day. It can summarize things, and I use it for ease. But I
Hmm.
suppose my next question is, how do you think that AI is going to impact us on a day-to-day basis in the future? Now they've got these masses of data, we're
Hmm.
evolving very quickly, um, and even you've just shared something then that I didn't even know was happening, which is mind blowing, really.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely. I mean, I think, like I said, the possibilities are endless. But if I had to to say, one way in which our day-to-day would change, I think a lot of the tasks that we do can be deputized or delegated to an agent or to AI, which then creates more thinking time for us. And I think, for myself, but also yourself, Georgina, and all of our colleagues and our peers across other organizations, is that sometimes you just get busy, so busy that you actually it's hard to and it's so necessary to carve out that time to think. Well, I believe that if we're able to deputize some of the things that actually make us busy, writing up meeting notes, synthesizing what's necessary for who and getting that out. I think if we can put all of that to the side, imagine if your opportunity to spend thinking time could go up from 20% to 40%. I think massive impact on a one-on-one basis, but also for organizations.
Yeah, it's super interesting. And I suppose that it's going to let us be more creative ultimately,
Mm-hmm.
and evolve with the technology because we've got that downtime to then inhale this new way of working and thinking and upskilling. Um, and just on that as well, I think we now need to discuss of how people can upskill and how people can keep up with this wave and this movement. Now I know many methods, and please interrupt me if there's any addition to what I'm going to say next, but you can learn through social media. We've obviously got that at the touch of a button, whether it's Instagram, TikTok. There's plenty of things, especially within the technology landscape. And by that, I mean people teaching us. We've also got LinkedIn learning platforms. We've got platforms within different organizations. There's courses that are super accessible on the likes of Coursera. And there's educational practices just as your like traditional, whether it be university, colleges, night courses, etc. And then most importantly, your network, whether you grow that through online platforms such as LinkedIn and you follow people within the space, or you go to networking events. I think that is really, really important to make sure that you're constantly evolving and networking and growing your palette of people around your table. Um, is there anything that you would add or any pieces of advice, especially for our younger generation, to ensure they're keeping up with this wave, they're moving fast and they're moving forward and they're excited with this new world?
Yeah, for sure. And I think you've touched on a lot of really good resources and pathways to do that. Georgina, the what I think all of those I would label as, external ways to keep up and stay ahead. But I think the second portion is actually the internal. And that means we really need to all of us, the younger generation, but also the more experienced ones. We've got to change our mindset and turn it into, always on learning is what I say to some of my colleagues, is that we make a sharp turn into moving out of our comfort zone and just learning, absorbing, putting it into practice and not being afraid of it. I think the barriers and the access to knowledge and learning has never been lower.
Yeah.
And so we've got to take advantage of it, but it starts here. It starts with us telling ourselves that actually we've got to move from a time of, yeah, we were learning, but it was more or less, constant for a period of time. That's gone now. So every day we've got to, show up, be hungry, be curious, and be excited. I think there's this is a point of time in history. I always say it's like a before and after. So I think it's super exciting, and I think to take advantage of what's out there, we've got to change things up here first.
Um, Gosh, yeah, it's super easy as well to access. Um, Whether you're into fashion or cooking or
Yeah,
technology as a whole, um, you can it's adaptable. This technology and this change and this movement
mhm,
is adaptable to whichever industry that you're in. Um, and from a work perspective, whichever industry the client's in, right?
yeah.
It's creating ease for the human race.
Mhm.
Um, which is super fun, and super excited. And then for our junior talent, and I'm just gonna really spotlight this because I'm the partnership lead, and Rachna is also the co-sponsor of our digi learning partnership within Accenture. They're a social mobility charity. So I just want to spotlight them for a minute because they allow for people of diverse backgrounds and from low socially economic backgrounds to be able to access things like mentoring programs and boot camps that will provide training experiences within technology. We do some ourselves within Accenture, especially with this Salesforce lens. So a huge shout out there. And they prepare. So not only are these barriers removed from a global village perspective and the accessibility through technology, but there are also charities and companies out there that want to bring people on this journey more than ever. So I suppose, have you got anything else to add?
No, I think first of all, DigiLearning and you know what Lisa Goodchild's done with the organization is amazing. You know, giving opportunities to so many that wouldn't have otherwise, you know, in terms of careers and learning opportunities in digital and now AI. So definitely I would encourage, as you say, Georgina, for everybody to look up DigiLearning, reach out and be part of it. But I think the one other thing I would say is, you know, there is a lot of fear mongering out there in terms of AI and what it can do. And sure, you know, there are risks, but there are risks with everything. And that's where, you know, responsible AI comes into play, which we speak to our clients about a lot. It's important to have the right guardrails as well. But it is an exciting time, but it's also, you know, an exponential need for inclusivity in AI, in both using learning, but also in building AI as well. So I would say, you know, don't do this and approach it with a sense of fear. Approach it with a sense of possibility, of joy, and of, you know, being at this amazing point in history, you know, at the kind of start of a very different phase in all of our lives. So I'm an optimist, and I'd encourage all of you to think about it with this very positive and exciting lens.
Yeah, so beautifully put as well. I completely agree, and I'm super excited being part of that generation and wave that was sort of on the precipice of growing up with technology and also a little bit not. So my life has been absorbed by technology, so I'm excited to see this new generation of tech. Um, so I suppose don't be afraid is the way to sum this up. Be excited, and join the journey. We're here with you. Whether it is on LinkedIn or whether it's just through this, we're definitely on that journey and we're learning every day at every different level. So before I close, I'd just like to say a huge thank you. It's been really, really insightful. I've really, really enjoyed pulling this together with you, and spending the
Thank you as
time
well.
just to share our experiences and knowledge on this topic.
Great. Thank you for having me, Georgina.